Hello everyone, this is my final project. My name is Chelsy Zulfitri from 3A1. Garis Waktu or Timeline is a 2016 novel by Fiersa Besari published by Media Kita. The novel title Garis Waktu is a collection of Fiersa Besari's thoughts and feelings that are packaged in the form of a story. This novel seems to contain a love story that must end with a deep enough wound, so that it must find out of how to make the wound disappear. Next is the plot. This novel uses more a forward plot so that we as readers will be curious about what will happen in the next story. The author portrays the character I as someone who is secretly having feelings for a beautiful woman who is coveted. Although the feeling of loss exists, I still hasten there to express his love to you. In the novel Garis Waktu by Fiersa Besari, the setting stage when the story begins with a meeting and introduction with one person who changed his life. This situation will underlie the story that will develop in the next stage. The stage of conflict arises in the novel Garis Waktu by Fiersa Besari when I expect your hurt while you are busy kissing someone else. The stage of increasing conflict in the novel Garis Waktu by Fiersa Besari when I set out to achieve my dreams and leave the people who love her until the distance separates with you. In the end, you betrayed and choose to let me go. The climax stage in the novel Garis Waktu by Fiersa Besari is when I get a letter of marriage invitation from you. The resolution stage in the novel Garis Waktu by Fiersa Besari is when I let go of all the hurt, disappointment, and emotion that came and went and was able to move forward again. And then is the setting. The story in the novel Garis Waktu by Fiersa Besari is set in Malang. The characters in the novel Garis Waktu by Fiersa Besari are I, you, mother, father, and friend. The main character in the novel Garis Waktu by Fiersa Besari is Aku or I. The character I is described as a man who has fallen in love with a woman described through the character you. The character you is a woman loved by I, who has chance of the word of I. The character you gave hope to I and then left her and chose to marry someone else. The mother, father, and best friend characters in Garis Waktu are only additional characters. The last is critical analysis. I use Sigmund Freud about id, ego, and superego. Fiersa Besari's Garis Waktu represents the author's perspective on unrequited love. The story represents a man who likes a woman but does not dare to express it. This is revealed throughout the story and Fiersa Besari is able to portray the emotion of this nameless I character in the story. The I character likes a woman but he doesn't know how to express his feelings, and in the middle of the story, the I character has to go far to pursue his dreams and has to leave his parents and a woman he loves. In this novel, the author's emotion accurately portray the tension that occurs between the competing parts of the human psyche, namely the id, ego, and superego. According to Freud, there are three components that make up a personality, namely id, ego, and superego. It is the interaction and conflict between these three components that create a personality. Therefore, this paper aims to look at the thoughts and action of the character I, Through Versailles id, ego, and superego. Sigmund Freud called the id the center of a person's entire mental dynamic energy or psychic energy. It is a major component of human nature that has existed since new birth into the world. This aspect is entirely unconscious and involves primitive, instinct-based behavior. What drives this id are desires, wants, and needs. If these things are not immediately fulfilled, anger and anxiety will arise. Furthermore, Freud's id theory can be applied to this novel when the character I realizes that he really likes the character you and wants to have a very high sense of belonging. As stated, and I can only be the victim of a suffocating longing, one that smiles with rosy cheeks when you greet me, like a child finding the most coveted toy. Dreaming of you feels good, even though I can only see you from outside the storefront. You're too expensive for me to redeem. Or should I just become a criminal who steals you just because I'm not willing to let others enjoy your beauty? May your one page 16. Through this description, it can be seen that the character I really loves that woman and really wants to have that woman. And then is the ego. The ego is the part of the personality that reality demands. It helps control the urges of the id and makes us behave in realistic and acceptable ways. Instead of engaging in behaviors designed to satisfy our wants and needs, the ego forces us to meet our needs in socially acceptable and realistic ways. In addition to controlling the demands of the id, the ego also helps achieve a balance between our basic drives, our ideals, and reality. Ego is seen when the character I realizes that having someone to love is not easy. As stated, looking for a life partner is not about looks, wealth, or title, but it's about someone who is willing to sit with you until your hair turns white and your body can no longer do much. Unfortunately, we are often distorted. We forget that commitment is actually about communication. September 2nd year, page 83. Through this description, the character I has begun to realize that having someone to love is not easy. Everything needs consideration and commitment. The last component of human character is the superego. According to Freud, the root of the superego is the moral values of parents and the surrounding environment. This is the way humans think about right and wrong. When the I character heard the news that the you character was going to marry someone else, he was so sick and sad that it could be seen as the superego taking over. As stated, slowly our wounds faded. You found someone who could carry you out of your sadness. While I was still engrossed in dating solitude, I knew that sooner or later I would have to accept the fact that you had finally decided to make him your lover. And even though there's a little bit of resentment, it's natural. I'm your ex. I am glad to see that you found the sun to light up your lost path. March 5th year, page 197. This quote shows the emotional tension that befalls the character I. At this point, I's superego begins to accept reality, and that's why the wound slowly fades away. As far as I'm concerned, when someone experiences something like that, they might get angry and hate that person. However, The superego plays a role here, making the I character able to think which is right and which is wrong. To summarize, Garis Waktu or Timeline tells the story of unrequited love and its adverse effect on one's emotional health. The id, ego, and superego all manifest through I characters' action and thoughts toward unrequited love. The id seems to force the I character's feeling to help someone, while the superego seems to force the I character's ideas to let go. Trying to understand both, the ego tries to balance the opposing nature of the id and ego, but ultimately fails. We can see how the I character has to let go of someone who is deeply loved, causing emotional tension. I think that's all for me. I hope you enjoy watching my video. Thank you and have a nice day. See you again.